Welcome to another edition of Raining Ducks. Sweet Jer, haven't said that for a while. Jerry Harris, Brandon Haynes, Jeff Morgan with you. And, it's been a week, took a week off, much needed. We needed to just recompress just due to everything that went down because there's just been a lot of interesting things that have happened since the seeding has come out. But let's go back to Big Ten championship game, guys. Ducks, they took care of business. What a really good showing for the Ducks offense. These guys lit it up, and you could actually see how fast the Ducks were compared to Penn State.
You know, it reminded me of back when we were getting beat by Boise State. What's that left-handed quarterback that they had that killed us every
Keller
time?
Williams or
Yeah.
Kellen Williams. Kellen Williams, yeah. Kellen.
It looked like they
Kellen
could
Moore.
pretty much
Clemens.
do
More.
Kellen
Moore.
Yeah,
There
boy.
we go. Kellen
Let's
Clemens
edit
is
that out.
Jeez, yeah, no kidding. That was terrible.
But
John, help us.
just how it seemed like they were so structured so well in their offense. They knew exactly where it was going to go all the time. Our offense was phenomenal in that game. And it has been pretty much all year. I was looking at his stats against Ohio State, Penn State, and what was our other toughest game?
Michigan?
Boise State.
Boise State.
And he's got like an 80% completion percentage, 0 interceptions, bunch of touchdowns, a couple touchdown runs. He's been so good in those big games, but the offense just click, 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 click.
Yeah.
I think Tez Johnson was a big factor there. That guy is just so stinking fast, and he's so good. And I think just him having a break because of that shoulder injury, whatever that was, that kind of helped his stamina a little bit. Because let's be honest, during the season, it's a long season. You get beat up, and he's just a little dude, but he is so fast.
And I think he really wanted to play well. That going back and listening to him after the game, he said that was the first time that his birth parents had ever seen him play live. And I think he really wanted to turn it up and play well for them.
That's an
stands.
interesting story right there,
Yeah,
because his adopted parents are Bo Nix's parents, who he lived with for 2 years when they were in high school.
Yeah.
They went to Tez and Bo have played ball together for a long time, and what a great reunion that was for Tez to come over from Troy, hook up with the Ducks, and God, what a tandem that was last year. So
I agree with you, Jeff, that Tez really brings another wrinkle to the offense, where he's such a dynamic playmaker and he's fast and he's really bendy, kind of like Ryan Williams from Alabama, where he can just make those catches where you'd be like, ooh, I don't think anybody else could.
By the way, I want to thank our sponsors, Salem Nissan, right down there on Cherry Avenue Parkway in Salem, Advantage Heating, Air, and Electrical, appreciate them, and Green Acres Landscape, GA at Home, and John Strow behind the scenes, making this whole thing happen for us. Unbelievable. Mid-Valley Media, appreciate you, John. Thank you very much. And so let's move on from that. And so now you have some notes, Jerry, that you've.
I do.
This is the first time you've ever brought notes.
I know. Well, it's the first time I've ever looked at anything and been prepared.
You're not supposed to say that.
Oh, shoot.
He did his homework.
Just looking at the bracket, right? Just pulling up the bracket, first thing, we'll just go through this. Ohio State versus Tennessee. Who wins?
Tennessee.
I agree.
Yep.
They got a
Really?
freshman quarterback from Long Beach.
Yeah.
And that kid's a stud. He can run the ball. He can throw that thing and sling it. But
I am a Volea, something like that.
yeah,
Nico,
I nailed it. I'm
one
sure.
of those. Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Nico is his first name.
Yes.
That's what I just
There we go,
call him.
Nico.
Nico.
27 degrees. That may not bode well for Nico. But I don't think Howard, is he any better? I don't even know.
They're down their starting left offensive tackle, Ohio State, that they lost against Oregon.
That's right.
They're down their starting center. And, this game could go one of two ways. It's either going to be a blowout for Tennessee, or Ohio State's going to pick themselves up off the we just got our butt kicked by Michigan carpet and come back and do what they need to do.
Hopefully they can do that. Well, I shouldn't even say hopefully they can do that, because I really don't care. But for their sake,
Yeah.
I hope for Day. He's got some issues going on right now.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
almost apologizing.
I look at this, just matchups, and, Ohio State against Indiana. I thought that was going to be, could go either way, right? And then Ohio State just manhandled them because of their extra beef. Does Tennessee have the beef to slow down the running game?
Oh yeah,
I believe they
they
do.
they've got
do?
they've got a stout defense, and I think that's what wins them the game.
They lost 2 games this year.
They did.
Alabama.
No 3-loss team is in the playoffs.
Okay.
I can't remember who else they lost to.
All right. Well, you guys both got Tennessee. All right. Texas, Clemson.
Texas.
Both. Yeah. That was easy. Okay. Notre Dame, Indiana.
I like Indiana.
Indiana.
Really?
I do. Those guys have slung it all year except for Ohio State. That was at Ohio State. The stage was huge. This is another big one, but this is Notre Dame. I don't think that they're all that and more. They haven't really played anybody. They
gonna
did play
say-
Michigan.
Yeah, they played Michigan. They played USC as far as big teams, but who else really have they played?
Yeah, just like Jeff said, they didn't play anybody. Okay.
Well, seriously, I really think Indiana's going to come out. I like their coach. That guy is a baller, and
Yeah.
he's going to have them ready to go.
I think so.
Okay, they got their butt kicked.
The
when-
coach of the year coach. Huh? Okay. All right. We can talk about awards later on too. Penn State, SMU.
Penn State.
Penn State.
See, I think that's going to be a blowout. I think Penn State will just crush
Throttle
those
them.
guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do. Okay, so then you got
Is he
Tennessee.
close enough to the mic, John? I know he's.
You got Tennessee.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Hey. And there's a camera there too. Who knew? Okay. Well, you got Oregon versus Tennessee.
Oregon.
That's going to be a close game. I have to go with Oregon
Yeah.
because I mean,
Yes,
I
because
have-
it's Raining Ducks podcast, and you
That's
better.
exactly
All
right.
Exactly. Don't be a homer, but I think
Okay,
they're
so
the best
why are
complete
you
team.
why do you hesitate doing that?
Because I think Tennessee's a good ball club.
Just a good ball club. Okay.
Well, they are. I think they're solid. They are SEC. I mean, granted, they've lost a couple of games, but overall, I mean, they've played some really good competition. They played really, really well. Not that the Ducks have not.
The only thing
But-
that concerns me about Tennessee is their offense sometimes will stall out. If Nigo gets put under pressure, which Harmon and Birch and Uyangalele, I think they can get him rattled, and I think that might be what keeps him from winning.
One concern I had of the Penn State game is we could not stop the run. And that's going to be a big problem. If the Ducks can't stop, let's just say Tennessee, that's a big problem.
When
Yeah.
quarterbacks that have the ability to drop back and then
Go.
and he's got the quicks to do it. So that those quarterbacks always hurt us. They hurt everybody. Let's be honest there. But okay, so then you've got Texas against Arizona State.
Boy. The Pac-12 guy in me wants to say I hope Arizona State stomps them, but I don't think it happens. I think Texas's defense
Texas
is too
is
good.
tough. You just
Yeah.
watched them play against Georgia, at least the second
Yeah.
time, and they were hitting them hard. And I think they had some vengeance going on in that game just because of the 2 personal fouls in targeting. And I'm going to be honest. The last play against their second-string quarterback, I thought that guy was going to die. I mean, I'm surprised he got up and walked away, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he was carried off the field, but just the way he went down, I'm surprised the
you think he
knee didn't
remembers
go
that?
sideways. Absolutely not. There is no way. And they called targeting on that, and then they took it away, which I have never seen that violent of a hit on a guy. Maybe they considered that he was a running back at that point in time, but just to go high with the helmet and the shoulder against a quarterback, that shocked me that they and maybe it was because they were going into the playoffs. They didn't want to see the Texas DB, not be able to play.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of that they were just shying away from.
It was a
that.
brutal
It's the
hit.
SEC. It was brutal.
Yeah, it was.
Totally brutal. That was one of the worst hits I've seen in a very long time.
So Texas again. You guys give a lot of credit to the SEC. I think the SEC was down this year, but I also I'm looking at Texas and they had an offensive lineman that was up for awards. There's guys littered all the way across there, and I'm just thinking there's just an awful lot of puffery to that team. A lot of media talk. A lot of the SEC honks always talking about it and stuff. They got all of that cred for beating who in the first game of the year? Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
And
Fair enough.
But do you still?
who have they beat since then?
I don't know that I consider Texas an SEC team. I know technically they're in the SEC, yes, for sure.
Here's the
But they're
thing,
still Big
you,
12.
You got Sarkisian, okay? Sarkisian this year, coaching-wise, reminds me of Cristobal. He can't win the big game. He just can't do it. It's coming down the stretch where he just does not manage the clock well at all.
I've never been a Sarkisian fan.
I haven't either.
I hated that he left Washington because I was enjoying beating those guys, and then he goes to USC, and I hated seeing him leave USC because I was enjoying beating those guys too.
Yeah.
Same with Clay Helton. Then he took over, and I'm like, yes, we still got a bad coach
I
in
mean,
there.
they. So the offensive lineman you're talking about, Calvin Banks, was committed to Oregon until Cristobal left, and then he went to Texas. And the kid's been a stud.
Well, Nico was pretty much all the recruiting services had him going to Oregon, and then $7 million said, no, you're going to go to Tennessee.
yeah.
Sheesh.
6'6" that kid is, 215 pounds.
That's a lanky kid.
He's lightning, man. I mean, he's got a gun, he's got a sling, and he's whipping it all over the place. The guy threw for 2,500 yards. That's a lot of passing yards in a season, and I don't know. I'm high on this guy as a freshman. Oh my gosh, what an athlete!
Yep, he's great. He's a good athlete.
Okay, so you guys had Indiana beating Notre Dame, so now you got Indiana against Georgia.
That I don't know. Georgia's offense, who's going to play quarterback for them? Beck is not going to be throwing the football.
Yeah.
That arm is trashed. And then the second string guy, you're going to pop that guy again? Is he going to be down and out? We don't know that. So now you're going with third stringer. Kirby Smart, what are you going to do, man?
I know. And the third stringers are no longer on the roster because of the transfer portal, right? So,
well, I think they still have, which funny enough, another kid that was trending towards Oregon, Jaden Rashada. Ended up he was going to go to Florida. NIL deal fell apart, and he ended up at Arizona State last year and played for Kenny Dillingham, because that was, I think, who was recruiting him for Oregon. And so he's the third string quarterback behind Gunnar Stockton. Is that the kid?
Yeah, Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah. So, and to your point, Jeff, nobody has really said how severe it is, but it's definitely a UCL injury, which is the tendon that
He can't
connects
throw
the
the ball.
forearm to the upper
There's
arm.
no way.
Yeah, his arm was dead on the sideline.
He couldn't even go in. He barely was able to hand off the ball for a touchdown for Etienne.
Exactly. And so I think it's probably torn, and I don't think we'll see him.
There's no way. If he wants to throw the ball ever again, which I don't think he was a great quarterback, he was a definite downgrade. And I can't remember the quarterback for Georgia last year, but that guy for 2 years was an absolute stud. Threw the ball on a dime. Everything was perfect.
Stetson
He
Bennett.
was good. Did he go anywhere in the NFL? I mean,
He went
in
to
a
the
training
Rams.
camp, but I don't know
Did he?
whatever happened to him.
Man,
He went to the Rams and had some personal issues. I think he took last year off, and I think he's back this year, but he hasn't played much.
yeah, kid was good.
But so this is, Jerry and I were talking about this on the way over. Last year, Florida State loses their quarterback, Jordan Travis.
there you go.
They get undefeated, fourth in the nation, get left out of the playoffs. Do you think Kirby told his guys, you guys shut your
Mum's
mouth.
the word.
Don't say a word. What's
Beck
wrong
is
with
fine.
Beck? He has an injury
He
that
can
we
throw
don't know
his
how bad
weapon.
it is. Right. So would Georgia have been ranked as high if they would have said Carson Beck is out of the playoffs?
I believe so because I don't
thing
think
is,
it didn't
Because
rely
of
on
the
him.
criteria in this, they were the SEC champions, so they were
Right.
getting in no matter what. It wasn't a hey, I like those guys, they passed the eye test type of thing. So,
Well, they got the easiest route to the championship game. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They do.
Okay, so did
Any
you guys
team.
pick it? Indiana versus Georgia? You guys were hemming and on, and we got up on this.
I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I really don't. That when you bring up the quarterback scenario and the fact that Georgia really has had some boneheads and the offense really has not clicked this year, it could go to Indiana. That was a toss-up for me. I really don't know.
I think that Indiana's defense, or the defense that Indiana is going to be facing, is going to be a lot like the way Ohio State just crushed them. And I don't think Indiana's going to be able to do anything against them. And
Unless they throw a screen.
Eventually, Georgia will just run, and
Yeah.
pound them into
Fair
submission.
enough.
So
Well, I guess we're going with Georgia, Jerry.
okay, perfect. Let's do
Good.
that.
I'm a toss-up. I want to see I want to see which
I was leaning
quarterback
towards
runs out.
Georgia.
I'd
Yeah,
love to
I
see
would.
all the SEC teams lose, but if I'm going to be honest, I think Georgia probably pounds them into submission. Yeah. Okay. So
All right. I
should
think
we-
we're gonna have to go. We've got to take a break here real quick. Appreciate Jerry, Brandon, Jeff here with you. Raining Ducks podcast. We're gonna take a break. Thanks for watching, listening. We'll be back after this.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have knee, hip, back, or shoulder pain? Do you hurt just going up and down stairs or getting in and out of your car? What if I told you there was a solution? One that requires no surgery and no downtime.
I couldn't even run 10 steps, without having pain. Just feel results within days.
Contact us today and find out if regenerative medicine is right for you. This could be the first step towards a new and pain-free you.
Raining Ducks back at ya. Man, I'm so thankful for that break. I was dying, man. I was trying to catch my breath. I needed an oxygen tank. Sheesh. Raining Ducks, appreciate our sponsors. Salem Nissan down the street from us off Cherry Avenue, and Salem Parkway off, what is it, Auto Center Road? I think that's what it is, right down there by Home Depot. And Advantage Heating and Air and Electrical's not too far away from him off of Tandem, just across the street. And Green Acres Landscape and GA at Home, well, they're a little bit farther away off of Gaffin Road and Highway 22. So, if you haven't got your Christmas tree yet, they still got some out there. I was just out there yesterday. Go get one, doggone it. All right, good.
Had you not got your Christmas tree yet?
Ours is fake. It's easy. It's been up for a month. But if you like real ones, go down there. It's all good. Okay, so we had to cut you off, Jerry, because you're just kind of long-winded on our bracket to see who we're going to think we're going to win this.
I'm the long-winded one.
Yeah, you're
Perfect.
the long-winded
Okay.
one.
So we got three of our final four set up. Boise State versus Penn State.
Penn State.
Jante, okay, I was watching the Heisman. And he comes out after the Heisman, doesn't win it. Hunter, obviously. I thought Hunter was going to win this thing all along. I thought by far, bar none, the guy was the best athlete, playing both ways. Just a complete superstar. He's a stud. And for
That's
Jante
where
to come
all
out,
the hype was. But I tell you what, snaps is a participation trophy. Snaps is not a stat. I don't care how many snaps
No,
he played.
100%.
But phenomenal athlete. Anyway, sorry.
It's like a race to the bell.
No, absolutely. But Jante coming out after the end, I should have won it. Well, no, you shouldn't have. You didn't. So should he have? Yeah, he had a great season. I think the competition for Colorado was a lot better than it was for Boise State. Obviously, Boise State played the University of Oregon, second game out of the gate, and Jante, ran for 190 yards?
Yeah.
Pretty stinking good. And I think he had one that was for 72, and it was tough for the Ducks to bring that guy down. So, did he have some great games? Yeah, 100% he did. But overall athlete?
So what's the criteria? Most outstanding football player in football, correct? That's the Heisman's criteria.
Outstanding football player. In what regard?
Stats, help your team, help your team to wins, and you look good doing it.
Well, therein
He looks
lies
good
a
doing
little
it on
bit of
both
problem,
sides of the
though,
ball.
right? The Heisman, is it the most outstanding player? Is it the guy that means the most to his team? Because then I would have to go with Jante all day long.
Yes.
That guy, without him on that team, that's a very middling team. That they're not in the playoff without him. That guy was outstanding all year long.
Yes, he is the juggernaut. He is the glue for that team. There's no doubt about that 100%. Is Hunter the same thing for Colorado? I'd say yes.
Yeah, I would too.
Yes, he is.
Defense
on
on
two
offense.
sides of the ball.
Yep. Yeah.
Interceptions, touchdowns, phenomenal catches. Ding. I should let you guys do that. But yeah,
Yeah, it's not like he's a stud cornerback and then goes in and plays receiver. He's a stud cornerback and then goes in and he's a stud wide receiver. In fact, I think he's projected to play wide receiver in the NFL.
He's probably going to go both ways. I wouldn't doubt it. If you can do that, if you can take that beating in the NFL,
Right.
then he can do that. But he's a skinny little sucker.
He's fast enough, though.
He is
He's
fast.
just a freak athlete.
Yeah. So I think he should have won it.
So back to
Over
your question,
Dante.
Jerry. Let's,
Boise State or Penn State?
I got to go with Penn State. Overall, I think they're just a higher quality ball club. I
Correct.
think they've got more athletes. They're bigger. They're stronger. And I think they're going to, at the end of the day, Boise State might hang with them, but at the end of the day, they're going to just run the heck out of the football, in the fourth quarter. And Boise State's defense just they're not deep enough. They can't handle that kind of a running game.
So I think you guys said that Jante had like 100. I think he had 161 yards against us. 71 of those was on one play, and he had another run for like 29 yards. So 100 and whatever that is, 110 yards were on two plays. The rest of the game, he ran for like 50, 60 yards, whatever the grand total was. So Penn State will similar run defense to us. Our game against Penn State notwithstanding, we've been
Right.
pretty good defensively against the run all year long. He's going to have some tough treading against that Penn State team. I think Penn State wins.
He's the one guy on that team. I don't put any stock in their quarterback being able to make the tough throws that Gabriel made against Boise State or Penn State.
Right.
So I think, one trick pony. You stop the run.
That's pretty
You
much
beat 'em.
what it is.
Got it. All right.
100%.
So we've got a Final Four then of Oregon, Texas, Georgia, maybe, and Penn State. So we still got 2 Big Ten teams in there, huh? All right, so it's Oregon against Texas.
I'm gonna go with the Ducks, man. I just am. Quality-wise, athletes, I think very, very, very equal. But I think that Dan Lanning is the key. The way he gets these kids just jacked up for every single game, and you see it on Ducks versus them. I mean, you guys turn me on to that. I mean, that is if you haven't seen one, you got to go watch it because it's super intense. The guy is so smart, and the things that he gets his teams to back. There's like a phrase for every single game, and they're tied to it. They're just bought in, and just the buying in of this team and their culture, I think, wins that game.
Yeah.
I think Sarkisian, I already said what I thought of him as a coach. Lanning, Sarkisian. Lanning.
I don't think it'll
Sarkisian.
be quite the defensive matchup that it was against Georgia when that's Texas's 2 losses as Georgia. I don't think the Ducks defense is quite as nasty as Georgia's is, but I don't think that their offense, I don't think that Texas's offense is going to be able to keep up with Oregon's offense.
Ewers is good. They've been crying for Manning.
Yeah, Ewers
for a couple of games
Ewers
now.
is a statue. He stands in the pocket
doesn't move.
and takes hits.
And that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, we've got some studs on the outside that are coming.
Yep. I agree with that. I
And
mean,
hell's coming with them.
And he's got 2 big games to play, too, and he's been a little bit dinged up. So
I mean, Texas has, Kelvin Banks at the left tackle, Cam Williams at the right tackle, both big, strong guys. I mean, I think Banks is 6'4", 320. Cam Williams is like 6'6", 350. So big dudes. So they're going to be able to match up well with Uiagalelei and Birch, but then you put in Harmon and Caldwell, and they're going
Those
to
two
eat
guys
up. They're
are
going to
just
eat
gonna
up that
blow up the
interior
middle.
line. Yep.
Absolutely
So,
blow it up. So, Reigning Ducks right here on the podcast.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about our
Why don't you
sponsors
say
again.
who our sponsors are? I'm tired of saying that. Why don't you do it?
I don't know it.
Okay.
I can't see that far. I don't know.
Really?
Where are
Okay.
my glasses.
You have to look at it. Salem Nissan, appreciate that. Advantage Heating and Air and Electrical, Green Acres Landscape, GA at Home. And got to thank John Strow from Mid-Valley Media for putting this whole thing together all year long. And by the way, we're going to take this thing all the way through January, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to follow whoever. If the Ducks lose, that doesn't matter. We're going to keep following that. Plus, Duck basketball they're playing really, really well right now too. So that's a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, just good times. So all right, just had to throw that out there.
Other side of that Final Four, Georgia versus Penn State.
comes to who's the quarterback. If Carson Beck's
Can
playing,
the one-armed man beat Penn State?
No,
no,
I don't think he can.
no. But the other guy,
Gunnar Stockton.
Gunnar Stockton, I think he's good. He came in and he actually sparked that offense, and so they don't need much. Their defense is so stinking good that they don't need a lot. And I really think Georgia probably pulls that thing off if his head's still screwed on right.
Right.
I think that it's probably them. But if it's not, if they have to go third stringer, then I think Penn State all the way.
I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think it's gonna be a Georgia.
I think Georgia
victory.
too. So we got a Duck Georgia final. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
That's where
And
we're at.
that could be good.
That's gonna be protege takes the teacher to the woodshed. I think the Ducks are gonna stomp Georgia. I think they are.
I don't know. That defense is really stinking good, man.
I think they're gonna stomp
I
them.
tell you what, just the experience that Gabriel has in our offense, and Tez, wherever he wants to go on the field, is always open.
Yep.
Our tight ends, I just think we'll be able to move the ball on them.
Speaking of tight ends, Jerry, Ferguson. Oh my gosh, that guy's like Mr. Third Down. You
Yeah.
get that guy the ball, he catches everything. He's got glue on his hands, and I'm telling you, that kid is a complete stud. He takes hits. I swear, a few times I thought he was going to have that ball popped out of his arms, and he holds on to that thing. He's going to the next level. That kid's just a complete stud.
Tell you what, we had thunder and lightning tight ends in that game. The beginning was all Kenyon Sadiq
Yep.
hurdling the guy,
That
and
was-
then wide open in the end zone on that little out route.
That was if you
That
go back
hurdle was
and watch the replay when when he hurdles over the defender looks like he's gonna pop up and tackle him. And he's like, "Where'd he go?"
Yeah, that was a track move right there.
That
he
was,
was
for
running
sure.
hurdles. There's no doubt about that. That was amazing. So
Yep.
yeah, the Ducks have athletes
Yep.
all over the place.
sure.
It's just a matter of, okay, can we put it together? We really do need to stop the run a lot better than we did against Penn State when we start these playoffs. But yeah,
Well, we have 2 weeks until we play.
Correct.
Still, or a little bit
yeah,
more
January
now.
1st.
Yep.
Get guys healthy. Be ready
15
to go
days.
against who did we say we were going to go against?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
Thank
Tennessee.
you.
And I think that's the better ball club.
I think
really
so,
do.
too.
I think they are.
And reading, all of the forum stuff about how Ohio State and Ticketmaster really screwed up the ticket sales. There's like season ticket holders from Ohio State that didn't get to buy tickets to their playoff game.
Wow.
And a
that a
lot of Tennessee fans are buying tickets. That's only a 5-hour drive, and they're a rabid fan
It's going to be
base.
27 degrees.
I don't think they care. I think they're ready.
27. And Tennessee doesn't get that cold, does it? Yeah, maybe it does a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's not. I mean, it's not deep south, but it's.
It's right in the middle.
Yep, it's right there.
Under Kentucky,
5
I
hours from
believe.
Columbus, and I think just reading some of the metrics on where these ticket sales are coming from, a lot of them are coming from Tennessee, and even a lot of the Ohio State fans are like, it's going to be like half and half.
So
Gotta
we're
play the
settling
game,
on the
yeah.
Ducks as the team of destiny here.
I think we're settling
Yep.
on the Ducks. I mean, why wouldn't we? It's raining Ducks, and they're going to keep raining. It's raining today, too, by the way. It's just coming down like cats and dogs.
What have you guys thought about the transfer portal and how it's affecting these
It sucks.
playoff games and stuff?
I hate it.
I tell you what, I was who was the player that just jumped in, a backup quarterback for Penn State?
Penn State, Bo Pembrey or Pembley or
he's got to make that decision now. You've got quarterbacks already in the transfer portal. You've got teams out there that need quarterbacks. They're out there already making offers and picking and choosing and stuff. If he doesn't do it now, where does he end up? He doesn't get into the sweepstakes of NIL money. I mean, it's just, the timing of it is just terrible.
Well, it's because he has to be enrolled in school for the spring term to do spring practices. I mean, he could transfer still, but he'd have to finish out the year at Penn State. He wouldn't be able to get in and get those spring practices with the new team that he wants
My
to go
problem
to.
with this is just the timing of the window to open the portal.
Well, everybody that's in a bowl or a playoff, they get extended. So as long as Penn State is in the playoff, or any team is in the playoff, they get an extra 30 days. But playoffs end after the spring term starts in January, so that's why guys are getting in now. I hate it. It's the worst thought out thing ever.
If that ideal situation for you, and a team can't wait on, well, is he or isn't he?
Right, they
and,
gotta
That too, yeah.
And then am I in the sweepstakes? And then I lose out on somebody else. So there's just the sweepstakes is just weird. Did you see Amarian Winston
Yep.
jumped in today?
Yep.
That guy was a contributor this year.
Yeah,
he had
he
a great game
did.
against Ohio State when Birch was out.
Yeah, he played well.
I kind of hated seeing that happen, but that's the world we're living in with the transfer portal and the NIL.
Yeah, so can they leave before the playoffs are? I mean, can they just leave the team? I
Yes.
mean, we're almost
Yeah.
done. We got to go,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
so they can just be gone like right now. Yeah, that's terrible.
He
Something's
got
got
an
to change.
offer immediately from Arizona State.
Of
Yep.
course he did. Yeah, why wouldn't he? All
Which is
right, well,
interesting because they have a great quarterback already.
guys, we got to go. Jerry Harris, Brandon Haynes, Jeff Morgan with you on Raining Ducks. Thanks for tuning in. Both sides on YouTube and on KYKN. We'll see you next time.
Go Ducks!